Jai Guru. Good afternoon to everybody. On behalf of Satsang UK, it is my great pleasure to welcome you all to the seminar. Before we begin, I would like to invite our chief guest, Mr. Manmeet Singh Narang, the Minister of the High Commission of India, to come and light the ceremonial candles for us. Mr. Manmeet, thank you. Beautiful. Thank you so much. It's a great honor for me to summarize the life and legacy of one of the greatest personalities of recent times, who's touched millions of hearts and whose vision continues to inspire millions across the globe. This is a humble attempt to introduce the man, Sri Sri Thakur Anukul Chandra. In recent history of mankind, many discovered him their guru, the living ideal or spiritual guide. He drew a complete sketch of life, showing us how to live and how to grow. He upholds all the possibilities of evolution for individuals in society while preserving our innate instincts, his early life and divine qualities. Thakur was born in a small village called Himayapur. You'll have to pardon my pronunciations. English is my first language, and I don't even do that very well. So please excuse me if I mispronounce anything. Born in India on the 14th of September, 1888. During the early years of his childhood and youth, there were many events which made everyone take note of his divine aura and spiritual qualities. And while he continued to live in society with friends and family, while his appearance and routine seemed normal, there was certainly a distinctive identity with a level of depth and refinement in his thoughts, execution, and administration of social, spiritual, and family matters. Right from his childhood, Thakur took a scientific view of life in order to probe into the source of being. His normal habit of thinking that every object of nature, animate or inanimate, is unique and throbbing with life and consciousness. His divine wisdom and spiritual realization has been demonstrated largely when the holy book, the Satsang Saran, The Pursuit of Truth, please excuse me, which is a rich source of the celestial messages unfolding everlasting life and light, was written by him in one night at the age of 22 at the request of one of his friends and admirers. People from various walks of life, including eminent philosophers, social reformers, scientists, and patriots from all parts of the country, as well as all over the world, visited him to ask him questions on a whole variety of topics. They found simple and fulfilling solutions through his insightful and profound perception. His answers and the discourses revealed the range and depth of his understanding of life and its manifold problems and the corresponding solutions. In his lifetime, there have been thousands of divine messages uttered from his mouth for the advancement of human life. These include education, family, social life, economic, social sciences, politics, philosophy, and spiritualism, just to name a few. The formation of the Satsang organization. During the course of his life and journey, a community of people organized around him, and this organization was named Satsang. It formed under his loving guidance to educate us of his divine message for the betterment of the human race, irrespective of nationality or faith. Satsang UK actively promotes his philosophy in our communities through congregations and seminars. Satsang believes in the manifestation of being and becoming of every single person across race, faith, and gender. Here, being consists of the physical, mental, and spiritual existence of an individual. Being is the expansion, evolution, and balanced development of all of the three components of being. The manifestation of being and becoming in any individual can be attained by establishing balanced coordination among the individual, the environment, and the living ideal. The living ideal is a person who embodies the concept of being and becoming. He is a competent and realized person in whom all the human qualities are arranged and adjusted to their best. Such a person should be considered a living mirror by which any individual can ameliorate his or own character. Thakur is revered as the living ideal Satsang community. The everyday practices of Satsang. His ideology and teaching were very much scientific, logical, and coherent with human values and objective reasoning. Thus, he devised a simple framework of 3 regular practices to keep the attachment with Guru alive. These are as follows. Jojan, which is self-regulation and adjustment of individuals' characteristics. Jajan, which is the serving for the upliftment of others and the environment. And Ishraviti, which is daily love and offering for the ideal. The practice of meditation, as explained and advised by Thakur, is a scientific approach to attaining the highest level of consciousness. This brings clarity of thoughts and coordinated actions. With this brief introduction of Thakur and his mission, Satsang, I welcome you all to the seminar, Ideal Centricity, Making of Individuals for Universal Concord. I hope you will get some insights to grow together and prosper as one family of human beings with shared values of harmony and happiness, followed by the ideology of Thakur. Joy Guru. Thank you. We'll start this evening with a song from the chorus. The song is Arjo Bharata Barasha Amar. The lyrics of the song was given by Thakur, and it was penned by his own disciple, Sri Krishna Prasanna Bhattacharya, who is a research scholar and assistant to the Nobel laureate, Sir C.V. Raman. This song is to call all the people to raise their consciousness of virtue and wisdom for their own growth in life. The song will be sung by Binata Ray, Kalpana Prusti, Shima Paul, Amit Ghosh, Piju Saha, Prahasanta Ray, and Krishna Chowdhury. On the keyboard, we're going to have Sayan Dutta, and on the tabla we have Indaril Guha. Please excuse my pronunciations. I welcome them all to the stage, please.
জানি না পজিশনটা কোথায়। হ্যাঁ, এটা ঠিক আছে। ভারত বরষ আমার, জ্ঞান গরিমা গর্বিণী। আর্য ভারত বরষ আমার, জ্ঞান গরিমা গর্বিণী। দুতি প্রেক্ষা স্ফুরব প্রজ্ঞা, দুতি
সান্দ্র আর্য গরিমা গভীর মন্ত্র ছলকে সত্তা একটি তন্ত্র ভারত বিশ্ববিদায়িনী জ্ঞান গরিমা গর্বিনী আর্য ভারত বর্ষ আমার জ্ঞান গরিমা গর্বিনী দুটি পেখা সুরভ প্রজ্ঞা দুলক দীপক মালিনী জ্ঞান গরিমা গর্বিনী আর্য ভারত বর্ষ আমার।
That was just so beautiful, just makes my spirit soar to see people united in song, the beautiful music, the beautiful sounds, the beautiful vibration in the room. Our first speaker tonight is Rajashi Roy. He's a senior IT consultant who is actively involved in Satsang activities in the UK and in the EU. He has delivered inspirational speeches on Thakur's philosophy and ideology in various forms, including universities in the EU and UK. Mr. Rajashi Roy will speak on spirituality as a positive youth development construct. I'd like to welcome Mr. Roy to the stage.
Thank you, Dennis. Anyway, sorry for a couple of seconds delay. Good evening to ladies and gentlemen. I'm really glad that I got this opportunity to talk about the philosophy of my Guru, Sri Thakur Nukul Chandraji, and how his philosophy of spirituality can be helpful for today's youth. But again, I'd like to thank our Indian High Commission's Minister of Coordinator, Mr. Manmeet Singh Narang. Really, we are glad that you made a time to spend with us. So, again, the topic of my subject is spirituality, a positive youth development construct. So in my session, I will cover this couple of things, like why youth should be involved in spiritualism, and then aspirations of youth, and then can spiritualism fulfill youth aspirations, then eventually ideal centricity, a way to achieve youth aspirations conclusion. Basically, this subject, I believe this subject is a bit kind of confusing, because whenever we say or talk about youth, we imagine youth means it's full of exuberance, lots of enthusiasm, actions in the ground, maybe in the whatever, any pub or dancing floor. But what is the purpose of spirituality in youth's life? just I would like to focus few areas. So by and large, if we just categorize our youth aspiration, we can broadly categorize in these four categories. That is, mainly youths are looking for good career, want to earn good money, means because unless and until I earn money, I cannot live in better way. And if I cannot achieve all my materialistic progress, society will not say, I cannot say that I am successful in my life. So to achieve that, we need a better education. And eventually, we all look for a successful relation. That could be anything. That could be the relations between a boyfriend, girlfriend, husband, wife, relations between the siblings, relations between ourselves and our parents, relations between eventually ourselves and our next generations. Again, this, I think, today it is 30th August, and just 2 weeks back, United Nations celebrated International Youth Day on 12th August. So what is the purpose of this celebration of Youth Day or any other day? Like, almost nowadays, almost every other day is some day. Either Youth Day or Women's Day, Yoga Day, whatever. But purpose of this is that at the moment, the significant population of world population, significant percentage of world populations are youth. And around the world, whether it is in UK, US, in Asian countries, somehow people are noticing that although we are progressing a lot, but still somewhere youths are either diverted or going into some kind of negative aspects of the life. Why it is happening? Now that's the reason. Even in United Nations also, people started bothering, and that's why they celebrated 12th August as International Youth Day. So on this particular occasion, again the question will be, why youth should be involved in spirituality? I will come to that. See, I will show some data here. Reason is that, because by and large, as I was trying to say in a couple of minutes back, that whenever we talk about any youth, we always imagine that people will be very much full of enthusiasm. They should be visible in the football ground or cricket ground or tennis ground or in somewhere or maybe in university. Not anyhow, somehow, whenever we talk about spiritualism, somehow we really struggle to connect between youth and spirituality. Although, even among many of us, those who are present here, we feel that our next generation, those who are youth or whatever, they should not or need not focus on the spirituality. They don't need to visit either church, mosque, or temple, gurudwara, wherever it is. If they focus on their studies, or if they are good in their, sports and etc., that should be enough. But, this company, Gallup, they did one survey in leading universities in US and Canada. Of course, we do have the similar data for UK and other places, but here I am using the data for US universities. See, Gallup and Bezilla, they have reported that 95% of American adolescents believed in God. Means somehow they believe that some kind of things are available, like some spiritual existences are there. So similarly, project in Canada, Bibli found that 75% of respondents regarded themselves as a member of religion. Similarly, you see other details we can see. So basically this data proves that although we believe that youths are not fit for, or they don't need to practice any kind of spirituality, but in reality we are finding a bit different. Whenever we are talking, going to the people in university and talking, what do you feel? Are you religious or spiritual? People say yes, somehow. But people cannot define fully, because as Dennis was giving some, while she was introducing me, she mentioned that, I do organize session in this type of place as well as, fortunately I got opportunity to talk in couple of leading universities in last few years in UK as well as Europe for this type of session. So while I talk with the people in this type of leading university students, then I also found the similar type of, I also experienced the similar type of outcome, that people are actually bit religious, but at the same time, the students are really cautious to say themselves as religious, because the moment we say religious means people think about the division or divisive nature, divisive thoughts or hatred in the name of religion. So that's why people, particularly students, find easier to call themselves spiritual rather than religious. Because the moment we say religious, that means we, affiliate with a specific group. Am I Hindu or am I a Muslim? Am I a Jew? Am I a Christian? Am I a Sikh? Then division, people start believing this way. So that's why people started saying that being spiritual is little bit better than being religious. Why I'm telling these things? Because these are the confusions are ongoing in our mind, and particularly in the mind of youth. So in this light, I would like to focus, or I would like to introduce Sri Thakur Anukul Chandra. You can see the picture. How he has explained spiritualism and why this could be more, appealing or rather acceptable to people across race, faith, etc. Again, the next question, is spirituality provide any means to achieve youth aspiration? Probably yes, no, somewhere in between. But Sri Thakur Anukul Chandra first time explained that really spiritualism means actually find the causes. It's nothing, it is nothing like any other, only rituals. So Thakur is saying that ideas and activities that lead man towards the cause are spiritualism. So that means spiritualism means finding the causal effect. Just think for a second, think for a moment. Is it not so scientific or so pragmatic definition of spiritualism? We always think, like, at the beginning I was telling, so that's why whenever we talk about spiritualism, we feel that spiritualism means just visiting any specific temple or visiting mosque or church regularly, that then it is spiritualism. But Thakur Anukul Chandra, first time he has explained that spiritualism is nothing but finding the cause. The cause of what? Cause of all the events in our life. Like, as I explained in the beginning, that largely youth has got 4 broad categories of aspirations. They would like to be successful in their career, they would like to be successful in their education, they would like to be successful in their relation. But Thakur Anukul Chandra is saying, if you want to achieve something, you need to find the cause, and then spiritualism starts from there. And also, see, in today's world, unless and until we get some kind of a materialistic success, I cannot say myself as I am a successful person, because our success is defined by our materialistic progress. So Sri Thakur Anukul Chandra is saying, when spirituality lets not thrive, materialistic progress, go with a coordinated contrivance, it is sterile, barren, and futile. So that means if spiritualism does not allow me or does not bring my materialistic progress, so that spiritualism is basically futile and barren. So that's why Sri Thakur Anukul Chandra's philosophy is so pragmatic, so much, so much scientific and rational, because he has explained this thing, and I don't think that, if we explain this, then whether I am youth, old or young, anyone will have any problem, because Thakur Anukul Chandra is saying that spirituality is the key to success for even being successful in the materialistic world. So now, sorry about the heading, it should be negative emotions. Aspirations cannot be negative at all. So it is my type of mistake, apology for that. But what I am saying that, But we can see while youth has got positive aspirations, but at the same time, we see lots of negative emotions among youth. Why so? Some fear of failure, depression, quick success tendency, unsuccessful relation. We all see, like, in our relations, in our close friends or family, even we ourselves also, even every day in our life also, in our life, we feel these things. Fear of failure, depression, because we want to achieve something very quickly without trying to find the causes. Or if I am not successful, Thakur Nukul Chandra says that I need to find the causes, why I am not successful. And then we need to find some kind of remedy that how we can achieve this. But what we see in today's world, while people feel some kind of negative emotions in their life, they go for something which gives them some kind of, quick, momentary pleasure. Maybe go for some drink, and next level, we see lots of, incidents are happening about the drugs. People now, we see lots of knife crimes. In US, we see almost in every second day, this kind of gun crime, because people become, depressed. So they just go and kill people, get some kind of momentary pleasure, that I'm going to be killed. Same person is going to be killed immediately. But still people do, because they're not able to control their emotions. So then, ideal in the life becomes very much useful. And then what happened exactly? But as the subject of this seminar is ideal centricity, so I will focus little bit about ideal centricity. So the moment we say ideal centricity means exactly what we mean. Actually, we focus on meditation, mainly on focused meditation, because in current time we see people talk about meditation a lot, but sometimes we struggle to understand how to meditate. Like, what is the correct way of doing meditation? That is the thing Sri Thakur Nukul Chandra has taught us. He introduced focused meditation. You see, meditation means whenever we go for meditation or we attend lots of meditation sessions here and there, people teach a lot of things. I'm not telling those are whether good or bad, but what I'm telling that unless and until we do focused meditation, then meditation cannot be effective. See, I tried to put some kind of, dynamic, like, cognitive dynamics during focused meditation, because the moment we sit for meditation, our mind always move around here and there. It is very difficult. So that's why we should practice focused meditation. Focused meditation involves focusing on any superior personality or ideal intently as a way of staying in the present moment and turning off the distractions. Because whenever we see for meditation, we are always distracted with lots of thoughts, what happened now, today, and what I'm going to do. So that's a focused meditation. Basically in Satsang, like Sri Thakur Nukul Chandra's organization, we all are, follower of him. And we practice this and we promote this. See, now I would like to say the positive impact of ideal centricity. The moment we talk about ideal, we talk about a lot of things. We think about, like, who could be my ideal teacher, who could be my ideal professor, who could be my ideal student, or who could be my ideal partner. So these are the largely, traits of ideal person. Like, ideal person has to be intelligent, successful, character integrity important, strong, determined, honest. Lots of traits are there. If we do Google, we'll find many. Because Thakur Nukul Chandra is saying that if we have ideal in our life, then what will happen? As is the ideal in whom you place faith, so will your nature be formed and your vision too will be like that. So that means I should have one article who could be the combination of all the, ideal person's traits, ideal person's characteristics. So we believe Sri Thakur Nukul Chandra could be that ideal person because his philosophy is so rich. In his lifetime, as during introduction speech, Dennis has mentioned, in his lifetime he has delivered nearly 20,000 messages. I have just covered only 2 messages because if I start covering, it will take, I know I have already taken a long time. So that's why, since his philosophy is so rich, so rational, so pragmatic, so scientific, so that's why Sri Thakur could be an ideal for all of us, particularly for the youth. This is my last slide. I'd like to focus, just highlight what I mentioned here. The all principles of satsang are scientific, based on scientific and rational thoughts. It gives emphasis on existence and growth of human beings and others. So people across faith, nationality, etc. can practice satsang prescribed spirituality to elevate the level of their consciousness. Hence, spirituality definitely can be considered as a positive development construct for today's youth. Thank you. Vande Purushottam.
Thank you so much. That was wonderful. I would like to invite our chief guest up to the stage, Mr. Manmeet Singh Narang, if you would please.
That will look nicer. Yes, Manmeet, please come. Some token of appreciation from us.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Well, good evening, everyone. First, I would like to introduce myself. I am Manmeet Singh Narang. I am Minister Coordination in the Indian High Commission. And all the I think you should be called as Satsangi because we all are part of the Satsang. And as I understand, all those who are sitting together and reciting the name of the Almighty, they all are Satsangis. So all honorable audience today, I am really honored to be on this stage and talking to you. And as I understand, my predecessor, Mr. Roy, had given a very good orientation about the philosophy of Shri Anukul Chandraji, Thakur Anukul Chandraji. And honestly speaking, though I had known about the great saint, but I had not read much about him. Of course, in India, we are lucky to have so many enlightened souls, and you try to know as much about them. Of course, the central teaching of all of them is quite similar, but when I went through this book, Quest, and let me tell you, I could go through up to page number 28, and I went through this a beautiful lecture by Mr. Roy about how the teachings of Guru, of Shri Thakurji, how they are useful in the present context to our youth. I think it was really eye-opener for me. And what I could gather is that Guruji is talking about very practical ideas. He is talking about the concept of spirituality. It is basically, as he said correctly, it is a process of scientific inquiry into the cause. So the very, I think, right from Gautam Buddha to all the saints which we had, they all asked us to look inwards. In fact, Indian philosophy is based on inward growth. We are not talking about outward growth. Unfortunately, in India, we aspire to be like Westerners, where the outward growth is considered more important, and especially the Oriental thinkers, and especially in India, we have always thought that how much depth you have in your thinking when you look inwards. And that is where, the source of joy, the source of peace, and the source of satisfaction, contentment actually lies. So, the Guruji asked us to be more spiritual as a way to inquire. And and if and I saw correctly, that he says that so the purpose of life is to drive away want completely, and that is possible only by knowing the cause. So I think these uh, his sayings are very true today, and they can really help the youth, because the youth currently has so much distraction. In fact, my children, when I see them, they have so many things to pursue. There are so many things, but ultimately, uh, I think today we are caught with too many wants, too many things, and again Guruji comes to our rescue. He talked about the concept of concentricity. So there, the center holds very important, and I think Mr. Roy said it very. He emphasized on it that your main purpose of life, it has to remain at the center. So you need to know always at all level of consciousness that what we are for, what is our purpose. And I think since I am a practicing Sikh, so Guru Nanak also told us that always have the ultimate objective of your life should be known to you at all moments. So I think the means to achieve that stage is possible only through meditation. And there again, Guruji he speaks about the various stages of yajan, yajan, and ishtabhriti. So I think I'm really very grateful to Mr. Roy for calling me here, and I think I'm very lucky because I had to give a speech, so I had to read this, and I read it very quickly. Of course, I understand the elements of spiritualism which are, I think, quite common in most of the Indian religions, whether it is Jainism, whether it is Buddhism, whether it is Sikhism, whether we have such gurus who really made us realize the purpose of our life. And I am always very keen to know about what all our different faiths they say. In fact, I also went for 10-day meditation of vipassana, by which was one of the ways by which Gautam Buddha's teachings are preached. So there also I found the same message, similar kind of a message. So I think I have already crossed the time allotted to me. In fact, Mr. Roy told me that you please speak for 2 minutes, and I think I have exceeded that limit for at least 10 minutes. So my message to the youth would be that however, how much, whatever level of material growth you may achieve, you will be incomplete if you don't grow internally, because you will always find somebody more beautiful, more smarter, more eloquent, more wiser, and more richer than you. So I think the growth of spirituality, that is the internal inquiry, is the only strength I think you have. And if somebody asks me, I tell them that you have only two things with you. One is your time, that is a true wealth, and second is your response to the situation which is happening outside. These are the only two things which are in our control. Rest, nothing else. So I think we should only care about these two things. I think more than money, more than anything else. So with these words, I think I should stop and allow the program to continue. Thank you so much.